Glasses. I want to go to your. Will you tag me? Then it'll go to my thing, will it?
Hi. Yeah, let's do this. How do I do it? I don't know how to tag you.
Oh, okay, I'll
Hi,
go.
everybody. We're live.
Hi, cuties.
This is Never Normal. I'm about to tag Jackie as we continue to learn the balance of this amazing Facebook live stream crazy platform of ways. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, we're both trying to tag it to my page. Oh my God, you should see what I was doing.
What were you doing? Let's start with that.
I was trying to put your name in the really wrong spot.
This is Never Normal. I'm about to Oh wait, do you hear it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to tag you right now.
What were you doing? Let's start with that. I was trying to put your name in the really wrong spot.
Oh wait, do you hear it?
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it. Wait. Did I do it?
I share. I'm gonna share it.
Oh, here we go. Now I can tag you.
Ooh, tag me to my. I just put it on my fan page, and you put it on my regular page, maybe.
Oh.
So it's both places, maybe.
It's still not letting me tag it. I can share it, but it won't let me. When you go to edit, it doesn't allow you to tag it. Okay, so anybody watching, there are 5 people watching. If you guys know how to tag a live stream, please put it in the comments and educate us.
Thank you. I put it on my fan page. Maybe next time I'll put it on my regular page. We'll see. Whatever happens. I love your hair wet.
Thank you. So guys, this is like what my hair actually looks like naturally. I did not have time to blow dry my hair and flat iron my hair. So this is what Renee Santos really looks like. It's the Latina. What do we think? Should I just like rock it at some point?
I love it.
I sometimes rock it, but because sometimes I feel like my curls are really erratic. But there is a reason why I look like this, like that I only showered with 5 minutes to go and had to just like hop out of the shower and be like, oh my God, we're doing this. I have another show at 3:30 and I haven't even like set up the shot for it. So I have a green screen like waiting behind me to just kind of pull it into the shot after we finish today. But I had this moment where I was like, this is the crap we need to talk about, because I had a really frustrating exchange. I opened my Starbucks, or I actually didn't open my Starbucks, but I worked really early at my Starbucks this morning. And I was scooting out of there, and a shift supervisor came in to relieve me and whatever, and I was kind of scooting out of there, and a barista like needed to talk to me and basically was frustrated that I wasn't able to stay to chat or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I have a couple of shows today. And they're like, you have a couple of shows? Oh, like you're a real comic. And girl, it set me off today because I'm a supervisor at this Starbucks, and like there's this concept of, oh, I just say that I'm a comic or I say that I'm an artist, but I'm at Starbucks running a shift. So like people think that like I'm just picking my nose and I'm like doing open mics, and not that should be diminished in any way, shape, or form. But I just feel like there's not enough education about those of us that are somewhere in between. There is this, I think to the layman, there is this concept that there's either celebrity or you're absolutely nothing, and there's nothing in between. And there are those of us like us that are in this liminal space where like I make a living as a comic, but I have to supplement my income with a regular job, and I manage a Starbucks, and I have a 401k, and I have stock, and I have insurance, because a freelance artist, like I'm not provided that being a comic. But it doesn't mean that like I don't make a living as a comic. It just means that I don't make an entire living because I have to supplement. So I thought it would be really interesting to have this discussion so that people understand what it's like to be a working professional artist and how that is different than celebrity.
It is different. And there's like a third thing. There's the person who can, in some people's eyes, just squeak by. Wait, I also teach stand-up. That I wasn't referring to me, and then all of a sudden I thought I was thinking of the people who went on tour, like tour a lot, but now with COVID, they had to move home, like with their parents or something like that. Like the fact that you camp Starbucks like is probably a great thing. And you want to have the 401k. Like some people are willing to suffer more for their art, but this is a thing that shouldn't be happening. Like in a lot of other countries, artists are treated with dignity and respect and given health insurance, given all this other stuff, because we need art. If there wasn't any art, the world would be awful. Like we take
And even it's such a great caveat to mention this COVID thing too, because people have been leaning on art more than ever in this quarantine, and we're not respected and we're not compensated fairly. And there's also like that people don't realize like what we're managing to balance. Like I had 9 gigs this week, but no gigs for 4 months before. And it doesn't mean that I'm not grateful, but all of a sudden I have my job where I'm there 40 hours a week and I'm scrambling. I'm up at 3 a.m, opening my Starbucks, and I'm running home and I'm taking a shower and I don't have time to do my hair, and I'm immediately getting onto my blog and my show. And it's like, I won't come up for air where I'm working like 14, 15 hours a day for like 10 or 15 days straight. And then nothing happens for 2 months. And then and so there's also that like level of planning in your life where people are like, why would you create that schedule? I'm like, why would I create that schedule? Because I've had no work for 8 months, and then I got 9 gigs in 1 week, and then I may not have work again for another 8 months. So like, I don't really get to hand pick that. If I say no, and I haven't like created a way of finding my zen internally, and I say no to these 9 gigs this week because I can't handle it, like that's part of being a professional. It's not just how funny I am. It's, can I show up when I am being asked, when life is demanding? You know what I mean? Like there's a huge responsibility for us to get up, even on a virtual stage, for an hour and make people laugh when you're on 4 hours of sleep because you just came from Starbucks and your crowd can't know that. That makes me a professional comic. It's like, it's not the gigs I book that make me a professional. It's the balance.
Right. It's interesting because I only had a couple hours sleep too, but but neither of us drink. So it's interesting.
Right.
Like I feel a little bit hungover.
Totally. But I mean, thank God we don't have that added to.
Like how we could not have the schedules we have right now if we were still drinking.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Definitely. The 3 a.m. wake up call to go to Starbucks would not be happening if I was still drinking.
But none of us like want to live like hand to mouth. So we want to have these other jobs, but we don't have to have them. You could survive on comedy. I could survive without teaching, but I want to be able to feel safe. And
That's such a good point.
If we move to another country, we could feel safe and just take in life and create art out of it, which everybody needs. But instead, we can't create fully because we got this voice that's like, what if, and we got to take care of business.
It's so true. Like there have been so many times where like I'm in this gestation stage where I'm trying to create, and like I don't have the emotional space because my survival job is draining me so much of my spiritual and creative energy that when I do get an opportunity to sit down and write, it's like it's not available to me. And that like we just want art. Like art doesn't just show up. Somebody has to sit in a room and create it first. And none of that's paid. No one's paying us to be like in the studio brainstorming. So it's like, so to be able to like have that balance. And I am so grateful for Starbucks, and I've been working for this company on and off for 16 years. And a lot of times people have judged me. I'm 40 years old and I'm still managing running shifts at Starbucks. And I'm like, I don't know, this is not what I thought 40 would look like. But you're right that when we talk about like that zen and being able to create, like when coronavirus happened, I had catastrophe pay because my store was closed for 4 months. I was unemployed. But because I had put in this time where people were like, don't work at Starbucks, as an artist, I had 4 months off where my company paid me a catastrophe leave because I had devoted myself to this company and it protected its employees. And so as much as people make fun of me for working at Starbucks, when people couldn't get unemployment and were panicked and didn't know what to do, I worked for a company that had aligned themselves to protect their employees, and so all of a sudden my stupid minimum wage that started as a minimum wage job 16 years ago, all of a sudden it made a lot more sense because people still needed coffee, and they were working really hard to like revamp and get our stores up and running again. And So yeah, it was like I had that moment where I'm like, now who's laughing that I work at Starbucks?
Right. Wait, who's laughing at you that you work at Starbucks?
Well, it's kind of controversial. I didn't want to say it live, but I get some critiques about people in my life that don't always think it's the best, right? I mean, my family, my sisters are incredibly supportive of all that I've done. Like, they are my biggest cheerleaders, and I'm so grateful because I know a lot of people don't have that bond with their siblings. My siblings are my champions, and like, I love that. I don't quite have that dynamic with my parents. So thank God for my sisters that keep like me spiritually.
And that's the thing too, as comedians, you don't have parents that can support you. Where I do know some comedians who have parents that support them.
But I even mean like emotionally support them.
Yeah,
like,
but I mean financially.
Yeah.
So this is just a different story. But I feel like you get, like, some people go fresh out of Harvard and get a writing job right away because they went to Harvard and took writing. You get a writing job right away like that. Where we have to work so hard to get that writing job.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm not saying like poor us, in no way, because I feel like we have other benefits that are fantastic because of the road we've taken.
And also, don't you feel like it's also, speaking of like not getting the writing job right away, it's also the work that goes into it that doesn't produce a result that people don't realize is still movement forward. I mean, I can give you a great example of what's happening in my life. Like, I didn't want to, I can announce this now because I was pulled from, I was pinned and held to be a recurring guest star on Good Trouble, and they held me, paid me a holding fee. Like, they were ready to give me the part, and went back into negotiations, and they were having some diversity casting things that were going on, and they decided after holding me for 6 months, because production stopped 6 months in February, I was pinned for this show, they decided to go with a different actor. And I just found out this past week. And I was devastated, and I was like crying in fetal position because I don't talk about this, because I'm like, I don't want to announce it. Then I have a non-disclosure agreement. Like, until I was actually pulled from the show, I couldn't say anything. And so there's all of that where it's like, people don't see that. No one asks you, so what did you audition for that you got really close to that you didn't actually book? They don't ask you that. They ask you, what have I seen you on? And I'm like, if you want my actual booked work, my resume, you ain't going to be impressed.
Yes,
but the writing job,
you've done.
But it's all that stuff in between where we've applied for jobs, and like, I was at the beginning of this year, I was a candidate to be in the writer's room of Jimmy Kimmel and Steve Colbert, and they passed on me. But it's like, that's the stuff that we don't talk about, because it's like only an announcement happens if you actually book the work. But I spent 45 hours putting together a 15-page writer's packet for each one of those shows, and it didn't produce a result. I mean, it could, I think vibrationally, you're going to produce a result at some point,
Yeah, because when you do the work over here, it shines over here. Polish over here, it shines over there. It's not holding on to the end result. It's doing the next right thing. Well, always something else will come up over here, not holding on to that one thing.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
And so like, I feel good about it, but I think like I'm having this moment today, which I know is partly my stuff, because I have to say, in the spiritual work that I've done through my recovery, one of the greatest things my sponsor ever said is, when you are awakened, you are not bothered when others are asleep. And right now, I am really bothered by other people being asleep, which means I have some work to do.
Oh, wow.
So, because normally, like, when people aren't showing up for their lives, or people, like, it doesn't usually bother. I'm in a space where I'm like, I'm grateful that those are not my personal limitations, but I don't get in their lane. I don't take an inventory of where they're at. I'm like, I don't know what's going on in their world that's causing them to not show up. Like, it's not my place. It's not my place to judge anybody else's spiritual journey. And I find that when I stay out of other people's lanes, people stay out of mine, And so like right now I'm feeling this like karmic like spin a little bit, because I'm feeling like people are really judging me. And when I like look at my part in this, like, here's some 4th step work, right? Like, what is my part? My part is, I've been taking
Why did that look sexy?
So when I take other people's inventory, sometimes when I'm in other people's lanes,
But it's true. I love that. I never thought of that term, but I love that if you're bothered by somebody asleep, because, but also you're halt, you're tired.
That is, yeah, and I'm hangry too. I don't do well if I haven't eaten, so like rushing to the next thing, and like when I eat like a power bar or something, like I'm grateful to have some type of sustenance, but especially during coronavirus, I've gotten to a place where I've started to prepare myself meals and I like it now. I like eating good food that I've prepared. I know how much sodium is in it and da da da. Like I've sort of gotten in that habit the last 6 months. So when I'm just grabbing and going again, I'm like, oh, I don't like the grab and go thing.
Yeah.
It's not my style.
Yeah, it's nice to be mindful with your food.
So what's going on with you? Enough about me. What do you think about me?
I'm really bummed about them with that part. I was really thrilled for you.
I know. Trust me, I wanted to come on here and announce, like, I'm filming next week, and
something will happen. Something will happen.
I keep thinking, but the other thing, talk about like seeing what's good about it. They're casting multiple shows, and 2 days later I did a self-tape audition for a different show that they're working on. So like they're trying to find me something. Like they like me, and so I'm just like, this is really what this industry is about. It's about building relationships, because sometimes it just doesn't align and they just don't want your brand. Like I'm not mad. The girl who got the part that I thought I got, like she could be an amazing person. Like maybe life is happening to her, and you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I don't wish ill upon anybody, but of course, yeah, I was excited, but I'm like, this is still the ball rolling. Like I've now developed a relationship with this casting office that's advocating for me. So
yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's really big news.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's big that they're advocating for you like that.
Totally. And I only was in fetal position for one day. I give myself, I let myself mourn the loss of something because I'm human, but I don't let myself indulge in it. So I'm like, okay, fetal position, Haagen-Dazs, Lay's potato chips, 24 hours. That's it, Renee. And then you got to start showing up for your life again. I was like, well, I was watching RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, I hate my fucking life eating Haagen-Dazs. No one understands. Yeah, I was in that space for a
I would have understood. You should have called me.
I know, I should have.
I know. I would have been sad with you. I would have made myself cry with you.
I would have loved it. Is that bad? No, it's not because I want other people to cry.
No, but it would have been because I can do that, I can go to a place where I do it, and it's a release for me.
I love to cry. I know it's cleansing for me. And sometimes it's empowering, and Brene Brown always says vulnerability is the willingness to be seen. And when I cry, I feel like it's a level of surrender where I'm just I'm willing to be seen, even when I'm crying for other people's hardships or other, I'm very, very empathetic. And so I cry. There's this homeless person that comes into my Starbucks all the time, and she only is able to get a Trenta water, and we had a mistake, somebody, whatever, made a caramel macchiato that was hot. It was supposed to be ice, blah, blah, blah. So we had it left over, and I offered her the drink. And the glow on this woman's face, that she was getting a real coffee beverage. And people, how many drinks do we mess up in a day? It happens a lot, and just to see that had made her day, I had a moment where I stepped off the floor, and it made me cry, because it meant so much to me to make this woman's day, and we try to give her freebies when we mess them up too. But then there's that balance where other people worry that, that homeless people will linger if they're just waiting to get free food. And so there's that balance, right? But just in that moment where it was it really was a pure appreciation, and I came back outside, I was cleaning the patio, and he was like, hey, thank you, Renee. And I was like, I see you. And it came out, and I said, I see you. And we both started to well up. I was just I see you. You know what I mean? You're not less important than me. And I feel sometimes when people are in those circumstances, that's all they want. They just want to be seen.
Oh, Renee, that's so beautiful. I'm crying.
Thank you. Now I'm crying too, because I just was
that's beautiful. That's what I'm talking about. That moment is better than any TV show.
It's
That
so true.
that's what needs to change in this country. In other countries, they have that. In our
Yeah.
country, we don't. We have put the other person down so we can feel better, or like, get up here. So it's get, not give, 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 and that's the most beautiful thing ever. And I just made because I would love to help everybody on the street, but I don't have enough money to do that. So I made a deal with higher power, God, that I would always help women on the street because women have it the hardest.
Right. Agreed.
So yeah, I love that. That's just made my heart sing because they
Aw.
have it so hard out there. Like I can't freaking imagine being a woman out there.
It's so hard. And then I also have these moments too where sometimes when I get in my head, I'm like, I'm just slinging lattes. And, you know, Starbucks sometimes it's more about that. Like it's setting people up for their day. This whole coronavirus, it's literally like these cops and front of the line workers and firefighters and people in the front lines in hospitals, they come in and they get their cup of coffee before they go to work, and that coffee centers them for that day. So like especially during this time, I've realized like how important my job actually is, and I've showed up for it at a different level. Like I love being there. I love being of service to other people. It's so much more important than a caramel macchiato, you know?
It's a passive energy. You're there with the great, unbelievable energy, and you're passing the energy. Besides the coffee, just creating a big energy, like the butterfly effect.
Yeah,
And you're getting it from good people too, because your energy is so
totally.
good. You're probably getting like the best people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love my customers and they really check in and they know me by name. And you know that like a couple weeks ago I had a customer that she also manages, so she gets that whole like trying to run a business, and
Yeah,
especially running a corporate business where it's I'm still under an umbrella where it's like it's not a mom and pop shop. Like I don't get to decide really how it's run. Like
yeah,
I really kind of have to follow a bunch of
right,
rules. And so,
absolutely.
like, you know, one of the rules is there always has to be two people in the store for security. So, like, my barista didn't show up and I went to open, so I couldn't open my store. But I went inside because I was just waiting outside at 3 a.m. in my car, and that didn't feel safe to me. So I went inside the store, and then this woman sees that I'm in the store and she's like, I just need my this. And she just wanted a lemon loaf, and but like the store wasn't open. The safe wasn't open. I had no money. I couldn't ring in a transaction. I couldn't allow her in the store. And she left really, really upset. And I felt awful, but I was like, if the camera saw, I cannot let a customer in the store when I'm here by
Yeah,
myself. But she had to drive and she had ordered it on mobile order, and I couldn't give her a refund. I had to order the refund the next day because you can't give her a refund if the registers aren't open. You know, so I was like, if you
wow.
come back tomorrow, I can. So basically, she paid for coffee I couldn't give her, and I couldn't make her coffee because nothing is open. Like, you need my barista there to make the coffee. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah,
like, it just was this whole thing. But at any rate, like a couple of days later, she came back in, and I gave her a free drink coupon and everything on it for free. And it was like, I kept waiting for her to come in because that moment, like I felt awful that I like sort of ruined her day, or just the nature of the beast sort of ruined her day that
right,
day. And
right.
and like I genuinely care about my customers. Like I couldn't get this woman off my mind. I'm like, did Betty come in? Did Betty come in? I have a free drink coupon for her. I have a,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. So
I wanted to be able to
sweet.
redeem myself.
Right. That's so sweet.
Speaking of multitasking, my agent is trying to call me right now, so I'm going to text him real quick to say I'm wrapping this up.
Okay.
I'll call you
I'll tell
back.
you a story. I managed a coffee shop in Rhode Island years ago, and this woman, like, you would think she was homeless, and her name was Angie, and she would come in and she would say crazy stuff, and I would give her free stuff because it was a mom and pop place. And she would then come back at the end of the month and give me $20. But we didn't know where she got the money all of a sudden. And one time she brought me in these shoes. She always called me, "Oh, you're a young Judy Garland. You're a young Judy Garland." And one time she came in and get me shoes. She's like, "Here's your slippers." And she gave me shoes. And she made me put them on and do that with my heels.
Oh my
Because she thought I
God.
was a young Judy Garland. And like I
You
still,
do look like a Judy Garland.
you're a young Judy Garland. She said that she was in the Ziegfeld Follies. And me and my friend tried to like look him up. Like, my best gay friend was there. Like he loved her. And like it was so cute. But she would come in and take a straw, and we had like jellies out, and she would like suck the jelly out with the straw and be like, "Hello, Judy," and that she was crazy. But then I moved to another store where I was like the only one there at the
Uh-huh.
bookstore, and she would come in, and it was the only store that closed on the weekend because
Mm-hmm.
the students weren't there. So I would have to take all the stuff up to Thayer Street. So I'd be like, Angie, come to the store. I'll give you a bunch of stuff so you don't have to carry it. And one time she was like, this is too much. Like I gave her like tons of lemon chicken and I gave her all this stuff. And she's like, I can't carry it all. It was so funny. But like I still get upset now when I think of her that she's probably dead now.
Aw.
Like Angie. Oh, she was a character. Such a character. Those shoes. Oh
That's so
my God.
cute.
Yeah, it was really cute.
See, those moments are like what we make art about, like those human connections.
Absolutely.
It's so important, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, like this is exactly what I needed to like walk myself off my ledge because I showed up like all pissed off, like leaving work with people like I'm in my car all pissed off, like I am a professional comic in my smelly Starbucks uniform, and I'm just like I have these moments where it's like ego takes control, and it's like I've learned in my life I'm either host to God or hostage to my ego, and I can never be
Oh, that's so
both.
beautiful.
So I feel like I've gotten back to being host to God. And
Yay.
yay, namaste, Nora.
Yay. I love
And my hair's still wet, you guys, this whole time. I am kind of digging it all of a
I
sudden.
really like it. I'm glad it happened.
Maybe this is why this happened today, because I literally came out of the shower. I used like the comb in the shower, like through my conditioner. I just like quickly towel dried it, like, and just ran out. Like my back is wet. You know when you don't even have time to dry your hair, so like the back of your shirt is wet. Like it was that kind of getting ready.
It looks good. I really like it. It's soft. It's very soft.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You don't even know it's soft because you ain't here. That's my Puerto Rican thing, girl.
I love it.
My Latina. What?
I like it. Wow.
I feel really Latina when my hair's curly.
Yeah. That's funny that it comes out.
It totally does. The curly hair, like I just immediately become.
Yeah. Yeah. My Rhode Island accent comes out when I'm like with other Rhode Islanders.
Yeah, for sure. I think whatever your origin is, it starts.
Yeah.
Not that I am Puerto Rican, I'm Cuban, but like
Yeah.
I feel like Puerto Ricans have that really fun, spicy, like I don't know, they're more spirited than Cubans. Cubans are
Oh,
like
really?
the conservative, yeah, like they're sort of they're like Cubans are Trump supporters. I don't mean to overgeneralize, but I happen to be Cuban. Like they're sort of conservative, and they're like racist against their own people. Like they don't like other Latinas. Like my big sister married a Mexican, and my mother's like, "Why would you marry a Mexican?" Like they're also Latina.
Yeah.
Like I didn't honestly, because I didn't really grow up with the culture of being Cuban. I was like very Americanized. I didn't actually realize there was like this weird competition between Cuba and Mexico. Like I honestly just didn't know. So when my mother was like Mexican racist, I'm like, how? You're from Havana. That's a thing? You'd think we'd be like supporting each other.
Yeah, that's all
right.
People within don't support each other. That's why I think it would be funny with like Trump supporters to like leave them alone. I don't mean to generalize that all Trump supporters are horrible, but racist, let's say racist. So put all racists by themselves in an island and see how they turn on each other. Like I would love to see that.
I know it'd be bad. I think it would be,
yeah,
because everything that Trump stands for, like, it doesn't match at all.
Yeah,
Trump supporters, like that's what's so weird about him. Like, I don't even think he would proactively be a white supremacist. I'm not trying to defend Trump. Like, he's just whoever supports me, I agree with them person. Like, he's just a weird like chameleon to hatred. But I don't think like Trump like proactively would be a part of any of those groups. He's just a part of anybody that likes him. Is like
I think so too. And how much money he can get. I had a friend who is Republican, and I can't be friends with her anymore. And I told her why. And she was like, why can't you be friends? Like, I can be friends with you when you have different opinions. I'm like, she's like, and you say you love everybody. I'm like, I do love everybody. I'm like, but I can only be friends with people that I trust their moral.
Yeah, because I've learned that, and I do have to wrap it up here because my agent's bouncing here. But I have learned that there's a difference between judgment and discernment. And I have to protect my energy. And I feel the same way when I'm around really, really conservative people. Like, I can respect you. I can respect your beliefs. If your car blew up, I would rescue you from a car. Like, that's what I mean about, like, I do love everybody. Like, I protect your humanity. And I realize that sometimes, like, our humanness and the way we're raised gets in the way of our purity. I see every human's purity. And so, like, but do I want to actively be in a relationship or a friendship with somebody that, like, that's racist or like, no, like, I have to protect my energy, and I choose not to engage with people who promote hate. And like, if you support those groups, or even if you're not willing to step up to the plate, like, that's also supporting it by not participating in the solution. And so, like, I can't have that energy in my life. So for me, that's discernment. Like, I choose to not have really conservative people in my life, but like, I would still pull you from a burning car. I would pull a Trump supporter from a burning car. I would do it. And then after I pull them from the burning car, and I'm like, you're good, you can breathe, everything's okay. Now I'm done with you. That's how I would do it. I'd be like, you're good. Yes. Your heart's beating, I'm out. That's how I would roll. Speaking of being out, I need to be out because I got another show, girl.
I love you.
I love you too. This was a really fun one today.
Really
it's always
good.
Fun, and we have to talk because I have so much coming down the pike. I want to talk to you about the studio, the vlog studio I found. Lots of exciting stuff.
All right, cool.
Love you.
I love you too. Have fun.
Thanks.